Welcome to Shadow of Truth with your host, Dave Kranzler from InvestmentResearchDynamics.com and Rory Hall from thedailycoin.org. And today is Wednesday, June the 10th, 2015. System is collapsing. Time to get physical. Dave and I are going to share with you what we see that's happening right now and what could potentially be happening just around the corner. Thank you very much, and we certainly appreciate you all watching and listening.
Most people aren't even aware of this, and I wasn't really even aware. I knew that the junior miners had been performing well for a while. Since March 10th, the GDXJ is up 18.2%, and it's significantly outperformed the S&P 500. The GDXJ is the junior miners ETF.
Right.
And that tells us something right there.
Well, what does it tell us?
Well, smart money tends to pile into, if they think there's a new trend coming, if they think gold and silver are higher, the way they're going to take advantage of it is they're going to throw their money into the junior miners because those have the highest beta.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if you think silver is going to go up $1, you're going to buy silver mining junior stocks, because they'll go up $3 for every dollar silver goes up. We have a junior mining stock, a silver stock, and I'm not going to say the name because I'm in the process of writing a research report about it, and I'm talking to the CFO today. We have a silver junior in our portfolio that's doubled since the end of March.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's information content when you see the junior miners way outperforming everything. Because that means the smartest money that is expecting a big move in gold and silver. You know, it doesn't say when it's coming, but it says they're positioning for a big move.
Makes sense because of what the other markets are telling us. Like I was saying a minute ago, as far as what the BDI and the Shanghai Containerized Freight Index are both saying in tandem with one another, that the global economy is tanking.
Exactly.
And the long term part of it is that they're going to be, the economy is done. It's toast. I mean, because you and I have been documenting this since March. I mean, do you realize that? I mean, that we've been talking about the same issues since March, and there's almost no improvement. And as a matter of fact, they keep getting worse. I mean, and once again, I love the BDI in tandem with the Shanghai Containerized Freight Index, because that shows you what's going in to be made by way of the BDI. It's up slightly. It's very little. And
dead cat bounce.
Yeah, exactly. And the Shanghai Containerized Freight Index, it bounced a little bit, but now it's falling again. So there's nothing going on. And a couple of days ago, when you and I originally spoke about this, Dave, that there was an article over at the BRICS Post, and the headline was China exports down 2.8% year over year in May. So if you don't have materials coming in to make something, and then you don't have anything that's finished being shipped out.
That's right. And why does all that occur? Because there's no demand coming from Europe and the United States, China's two biggest export markets.
Correct. So if they're not making anything and they're not shipping anything out, it's because nobody's buying anything, because everybody's broke, which means that, like you were saying just now, smart money's moving into gold and silver. The smartest money have been moving in since when? Past couple of months?
Since the end of March.
Since the end of March.
And actually into gold and silver since mid-November. But they've been moving aggressively into the junior mining shares since the end of March.
Well,
actually the beginning of March, early March.
If that's not an indication of something really nasty and ugly being on the horizon, because gold is, once again, it's a thermometer of the health of the economy. And even though it's playing in a rigged market, it's still, that function doesn't ever go away, right?
That's right. And see, we can take this analysis one step further by saying that gold and silver are anticipating another massive round of quantitative easing from the United States. and that's probably why the S&P is up so much today. Because the S&P gets happy, the stock market gets all happy when it's expecting more printed money, because that's the heroin that fuels the stock market. And to the extent that the global economy and the U.S. economy is collapsing, we can take that one step further because interest rates are spiking higher. And that's why I believe there was a big derivatives accident and the Fed is losing control of its ability to control the markets. Because in a scenario where economies are tanking, interest rates should be tanking. They shouldn't be spiking higher.
No, but they are.
I mean, this has always been sort of a truism for as long as I've been a professional on Wall Street, which is since the mid-'80s. And when I was a bond trader on Wall Street, we always knew that the bond market is bigger than any one entity's ability to control it. And we always knew in this post-2000 tech bubble era, where Greenspan started it by really putting the accelerator on the printing press, we always knew that eventually the Fed was not going to be able to control the markets and it would lose control. And I think that's what we're starting to see. I think it's starting to spin out of control. And that ties back to what happened at Deutsche Bank over the weekend. Because Deutsche Bank's the largest derivatives player in the world.
Really? They're bigger than J.P. Morgan?
Bigger than J.P. Morgan.
Wow.
Bigger than J.P. Morgan.
I did not
and
realize
Anshu
that.
Jain was shot in the head after 2 weeks after being given more power. So something happened. It's impossible to say for sure, but the way the markets are behaving, especially the bond market, and the bond market's tanking again today, it just tells us that something's happened. Because in a scenario where the economies are contracting, the Fed absolutely does not want higher interest rates.
No, they never want that. I mean, I don't care what what some of these Fed heads come out and say, we need to raise interest rates. They can't raise interest rates, and they know it.
And they know it. It's just a big game of kabuki theater, good cop, bad cop, because
Exactly.
what they're trying to do is establish some sort of sentiment support for the U.S. dollar. And if they all came out and said, no, we're going to have to hold off on interest rates, the dollar would really tank. And the dollar's tanking as it is. It's well below its 50-day moving average, and it's moving towards its 200-day moving average. And if it breaks that, it's probably lights out.
How much longer do you think, realistically, Dave? I mean, how much longer do you think that the Band-Aids and rubber bands are going to keep this thing together? I mean, because it seems like that since the last time that we did one of these market updates, which was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that things have really taken a turn for the worse. Do you see 2016 being anything like 2015? Do you think it's going to be a lot worse? I think it's going to be a lot worse. I think things are getting ready to just go straight in the ditch. I mean, or off a cliff.
I'm not going to say that something for sure is going to happen this year, but I think with each passing day, the probability increases that something big is going to happen.
It's not looking good.
And everyone's who thinks something big is going to happen is pointing to the September, October, which to me, if that's the expectation that's cooked into the markets, we could see something happen anytime between now and this fall.
Yes.
And I do have it from a good source. And again, I'm not saying this source is accurate or correct, but apparently a very big physical silver supply shortage is starting to develop in London. And what I was told was that they're going to be out of silver to ship to refiners by October. And I think actually John Embry might have mentioned that in his latest King World News interview. And he got the information from the same source that I got it from last night.
Jeez. Now, when you say that they're looking at a silver shortage to where they can't ship it to the refiners, are you talking about silver ore? Or what kind of silver are you talking about?
Yeah, it would be the Doré bars. It would basically any kind of silver, any kind of physical form of semi-refined silver that would go to refiners.
Good Lord. So they can't. So all the low-hanging fruit from the miners is gone, and with these the past 4 years of the beatdown, so now they're having to really scrounge for anything that's out there, no matter where it's at.
Forget what's coming from the miners. I would like to see a public display of J.P. Morgan's SLV vault.
Good luck with that.
Why can't we see that? It's not a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal. Open the doors and let's take some pictures and look at serial numbers.
Well, like I said, good luck with that. I mean, I'd rather.
I don't see why there should be a problem. I mean, I'm sure it's well guarded, theoretically.
Why would you have guards on empty space?
Exactly.
Well, is there anything else we should cover there, Dave?
Nothing I can think of.
Yeah,
How about you?
Well, I have a pretty severe headache, so I'm good to go.
That sounds good.
Well, all right. Well, I guess we'll talk to you in a day or two.
That sounds great.
All right.